Okay, hi friends. This is another Nora Finch solo episode where I'm going to be talking about relationships and the importance of building that healthy relationship with yourself first. Of course, I've been wanting to record this for a very long time, and it really is a very complex and complicated subject for me. You're probably saying, why? But because of what I've learned thus far in life, that's why I can say that I've dissected it enough. I think I've basically shredded it at this point. And so, my analyzing and everything, platonic or romantic, that both can be complicated, and platonic ones can actually have romantic aspects to them as well. You just aren't necessarily getting physically intimate, right? So, this episode is not the one if you're looking for me to help you partner select and get really specific. We do talk about it a little bit if you're interested in a show like this with John Oswald, which is one of my former veterans who has passed after a few years now. But we talk about it really briefly because he has studied human psychology and different things like that. But we only really touch on it. And I think it's episode 14, John Oswald. So, I am going to start with how this episode is about how to do you. Okay, it starts with you first. This may sound really annoying and you've heard this before, but I will explain why this is important. Okay, so I realize this is a challenging thing to do in American pop culture because there's just been so much focus historically on finding the one, almost to the point of that's all there is to life, that's the ultimate accomplishment in terms of a happy good life. Okay, so yes, it's definitely a component of it, but I think it's one of those things that can make us really crazy, because we can become so consumed in it, especially when we find somebody we really like, right? Okay, so, and that is for another topic on the different levels of love. And people may be thinking it's love, but it's lusting, and all these situations, sometimes people having sex right away and all these things, and then getting into these relationships that they might really not want to be, that are committed, and then people are getting pregnant. Okay, so that's for another show. Okay, not everybody, though, feels like this, that their focus in life is about finding the one. Some people actually grow up, they already have, some hobby or a passion or something else, that they're really into, have things for themselves. It could even just be their actual, platonic friendships. They already, kind of have a life for their own in that aspect. They're confident, they feel free, they're independent, regardless of being in a relationship or not. Okay, so there are those people, and they might not necessarily want to listen to this. So, moving forward, okay, we got to look at where our brains and our mindset are at during this time when you're listening to this episode, and you're probably thinking, okay, relationships. She's talking relationships, regard romantic ones. I am interested in finding one. I want to know more about this. Tell me how to do this, whatever it is, whatever the situation is. Okay, so we need to see and assess where you are at. Okay, so let's just say, because I said again, the focus of this episode is about building yourself, I'm going to explain why this is important. The American cultural focus. Now, again, I'm looking at this from 20 years ago, about, because I'm 45 now. I would say that growing up, I've seen that the focus has been on the traditional family construct. That was, to me, right? It's husband, wife, biological children, and extended family. Okay, that sort of structure. And I know that probably goes deeper into that whole thing if it's religious and Christian ways, or whatever it is, male and female roles, but I'm not going to get into that right now. You can look up, that yourself. But because of the traditions like this, and like what I saw, in my family, I did see, while my parents divorced when I was 6, my dad entered into a new relationship, and I was raised by that stepmom from 6 to 19. Okay, so I saw a good foundation there, and I believe was based in love, right? True love. So that's what I knew it to be. It wasn't until that I became an adult that I realized that people get married for so many different reasons, not even just having kids together. It could be just so many other things, right? Money. Um, I don't know. I've said tax purposes. I don't know. Some other sort of, arranged marriages, and a lot of other cultures do that. Okay. So I had just always thought that people that, got that had that traditional setup, they must be in love. That's very false in a lot of cases. Okay. So with that being said, the traditional family construct that doesn't love, does not work for everybody. Maybe people aren't interested in that. Or if you are a first responder listening to that, maybe necessarily you are really into your career and that is your focus. And not to say you're not interested in a family, but you get your family through your crew or your friends or in other ways. Okay. It's not for everybody. And now 2023, there's different types of family structures, even with that, meaning female, female, male, male, et cetera, adopted kids. So this focus can be very consuming, the whole finding the one and being desired. And, back in the day, it was pretty much like if you were single, you sucked. There was something wrong with you. It's a lot of people were looked at and still are looked at like that. Okay. So I'm not saying that that is correct. I'm just saying that those were the ways of thinking back then. So almost people felt more pressure to get into something, and or maybe they don't want to be alone. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the part of talking about the importance of working on yourself, which number baby step one is, it sounds really simple, but having a hobby, a passion, a cause, other things for yourself, right? That you enjoy doing, diversifying your love, so that you're not getting so attached and consumed and losing yourself within that relationship and focusing on finding the one. Okay. And I will go back. Actually, I will talk about that right now, is that finding the one, you can get along with a lot of different people, and there are lots of different soulmates. It depends on your belief systems. But again, we have been shown there is only one soulmate. Okay. And so that is for another show to get to diving into the multiple soulmates and soul companions and different things like that. Okay, so not getting so attached, having things for yourself, and so you will attract the best and the healthiest relationships. You are at that point that you have realized you are cool or okay within or outside of something that is so committed and requires, certain levels of dedication. So, wouldn't you want, if you wanted a long lasting relationship, wouldn't you like to know how to manage conflicts and keep it long lasting, right? Even with your platonic friends, you know, um, being able to work things out with them. I know I was the person before that we would just stop talking for long periods of time, or sometimes just not be friends with you at all anymore. And I'm, again, not saying that that was right, but I lacked social skills and didn't really know how to speak up, let alone how do I approach this conflict without the person getting super defensive. Like, I just want to share and open up, and I don't like, I'm not, I don't want to make you mad. I don't want to upset you. So the ones that I did want to keep, now moving forward, I actually, bring up things like that, how we can have open communication or whatever it is. And sometimes you won't just pick up after you just fought, sometimes that it will, whether you're fighting or just having an argument, it's just weird energy after that. Okay. But just being able to work through it. So really is the real question, is the real question, are you willing to put in the work with the right person? if you feel like it's worth it, then I think that you will want to listen to future episodes. And also, if you choose to live with someone, everybody has a right and a choice whether they want to live with somebody or not. Whether you're legally marrying somebody or not, you can have a choice to live with somebody. So, which I don't personally think is always the best idea. I think it can ruin aspects of a relationship, but maybe that's why you have separate quarters and things like that. The things just to help keep it flowing and good and still kind of like each other. So, are you ready to dive in? I asked you a lot of questions, I know, but realizing that this all starts with you and building a healthy relationship and understanding the self-love talk if you've heard about it before, and personal growth, not necessarily being encouraged also in the culture. This is very challenging for us to understand, to give love to ourselves and it not not feeling selfish about it. Okay, so I will explain more on this later. And baby step after walking away with this video, I wanted to say is that baby step would be finding a passion and a hobby and something for yourself. Okay. So if you are looking for some sort of long term relationship romantically, and that's really what you want to do, and you have decided that, and you want to listen more, I will meet you in the next video. Okay. So good luck to you and talk to you soon. Thanks for listening.